Out of the Blue with Francis Zoo.
On the road.
On the road. And then basically what's kind of coming to mind is it's now or never. Like, all these seeming experiences, or even like learning different ways, or even doing something different, have been helpful, but all these things about innocence and, kind of going for it, like kind of like with the Lucy movie as well. It's kind of intertwined with that, because there's like a feeling of, and it's not an old feeling of later, or if I don't do it now, I can do it later. It's sort of an excitement, like it will be never if I think that way.
Yeah.
Like I can never think like it's never going to be any better than right now. Like I can't do anything to make myself happy. I can't do anything to not see what I need to see, the blocks. But those are all things that are like the movie. They just kind of are going to come at me when they're going to come at me, if at all. Because how I think, is, especially with your talk yesterday about the innocence is an experience, like I'm just realizing that I must have it already. There's really nothing I can do to enhance it or make it any better or do anything to help it dawn on my awareness, because there's no awareness with Kris. There's always going to be sort of an issue with, things, and even and I was seeing with the community, and being with the community has been so helpful. And I've seen like, I've always been in community in some way. Like when I was 12, I found myself in foster homes and orphanages and things like this, where you would just have the same sort of situations. Like I was washing a dish with Christian Hat, washing dishes, and we were talking about how I learned to wash a dish was in, a halfway home for men that got out of jail, and I was really young. But, and so all these experiences seem to be, I can see them as one moment. They're all the same moment on the screen. Like there's nothing different. Like I've seen it all before, and it's been really helpful. But there seems to be my giving the experience its due. It's center stage now, because I think when my mind wasn't trained, I couldn't do that because I didn't know how to get out of the way and just let the experience kind of lead. And now I can see it so clear. Like I didn't feel to watch the movie last night, and it's like, and then I just felt, I can actually just do this. I can actually go with the flow of what's for me to do now, or what's the feeling, or what would you have me do, sort of thing. And it was just so light. And then they had a real heavy discussion in the morning about it, and I just didn't feel any kind of connection. I was actually just going, I'm glad I'm not implicated in this, because I do have still some kind of it seems like the remnants of there's kind of somebody out there that I could actually do something wrong and they can say it. But I think then the guidance came in to kind of be more loose with the structure, and for us to really feel in, and it was like, that's exactly it. So with it being now or never, it just seems so non-compromising. It's almost like, if Spirit would have it, and which I don't think it's Spirit's that radical right now, but it would just be like, do like St. Francis did. You could just leave everything and just go out, and if that was the guidance, then everything would be provided and perfect. So I don't know. Do you experience it as that you have everything now, and that you really are back a ways from the learning mode, or from just the correction type of aspects?
You know, it's funny because I guess I heard a spiritual teacher once said that awakening, because I guess there is this big picture of what an awakening will feel like, and then honestly nobody really knows what it feels like, but it's just going to be good. It's something that is transcendent and is, you know, blissful, and just something the best you can picture, or even you can't picture, but it's something that's extremely good, and then you put in the future, and hopefully one day you'll be able to grasp it. But one day I remember I heard this spiritual teacher say, you know, one of the symptoms of awakening, because he was saying awakening can be a process, can be something that happen and is very almost like subtle. And then when he said one of the symptoms of awakening is the ending of the searching energy, basically meaning that I don't feel there is anything to fix or search for, or anything to be changed anymore. So there is no attraction to being corrected either. There is no like this burning desire to please tell me what's wrong with me, or give me what I don't have. And when I heard what he said about this one symptom, and I thought, you know, I can't relate to this big firework picture that I had in my mind, but I can definitely relate to that, as like just there is no desire to seek anything, there's no desire to change anything, and there is really, like, it's very deep from deep down. There is no calling for correction, but correction in form, you know, because there is no searching in form. But I guess there was this interesting experience I had one day where it's hard to describe because it can almost sound very, very ordinary. I just suddenly realized that I can't even describe it directly. I can use metaphors. It's almost like I've been searching for my nose my whole life. And then all of a sudden I realize I have it. And it's right here. I don't always see it, but it's there. And I was thinking, you know, that's like the most relaxing thing. And also that when that realization is there, that's not something you can ever lose again. It's like, if I know I have a nose, I probably don't talk about it all the time, or probably don't fix my attention on it all the time, but I never will look for it anymore. You know what I mean? Because I just know that what I have been looking for is actually quite a mistake. And it's pretty hilarious. So I can definitely relate to what you're saying is now or never, because as you were saying, you know, if the thought of a future awakening is being held in this moment, then it's never going to happen every time the future thought is held.
Yeah,
basically.
Right. And again, I think I see that just in more subtle forms, and it just seems like yeah, it seems like more of a pulled back, or but there has been really some intense times with it, but it feels like more, just as everything's just kind of going on automatic pilot, and there's not really, it's interesting to be with that, like it's really been coming in since your talk, like the now or never, like I was setting up this, really hurrying, and it was just like, I don't really need to do it alone. Let me ask somebody to help, and just subtle things like that. There seems to be a hurry, yet there seems to be a very still place inside that's just kind of, that is coming more up to the attention. It's just like, that's there too. It's like, I've got to do these, and get this from this, and all this kind of multitasking. But there's always and you're infinite, and you don't have a body.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, this you or this I, it's, like we have been hearing about it for so long, but that is truly the only problem. That's truly the one problem that, when we talk about awakening, just the I that wants to awake, that needs to awake, that think it ever gonna be different, and also it has a problem right now. I'm going through something, I'm suffering. That sentence, I'm suffering, is like, it's not really, I don't know, like when I found my nose, so to speak, it's like the I who think it has suffered and wants to find a solution, can never find a solution because when the solution comes, there was never ever a problem to this I ever. So
right. So it's never true. It's never an issue. What we think's really an issue. The issue is the identity. You're saying, right?
Yeah, the thinking about the issue. That's why, there is no way you can break through this sort of giant cobweb or something unless you drop. So this from specifics, this belief or this thought that I have some problem, just starting from that, like, because that's not really true. And when that is held true, then no matter the solutions, we can look for solutions, but that's not going to be the real solution.
Yeah, so it was interesting as well and I know David has said it before, but when he was talking to the Buddha at the gas pump, Rick
Ricard,
in the interview,
yeah.
I think he was asked that same question: do you believe yourself to be enlightened, or however the question was, and David said, I'm awakened, I'm aware of dreaming, and so really the truth or love or anything like that, all we seem to experience with the identity is like a taste of it, or just hints of it, subtleties that, but they're still within the framework because we're still here. And
yeah, that question, you're awakened, it's the same, falling into the same fallacy. The I.
Right.
The
Right. Kris.
Yeah, the I that can be this or that. It's not there. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say is I guess I just feel like, so that state of mind, there is no need to talk about it, because it is really literally beyond words and concepts, and beyond the need to communicate about it. But the thing is that frees up. You know that whatever you talk about is not gonna be any achieve the goal of you just talk about the truth directly. So in that way, you're really free to talk about anything that is guided in the moment.
Right. Yeah, I feel that with say Christian Head, like we used to, we used to fall sympathize with each other, and we'd get called on it, and there'd be church services and preaching about us, and so it's been really big retranslation that we can still goof around and sing songs and and it's so light, and it just it's all a reminder, with what you said. It's so great because it was really helpful to turn around and look at the shadow, really look at like all the things I didn't want to look at, the anger, the hatred, the rage, and actually just going the full way with, like, the Course says you want to murder your brother. I could see, like, wow, that it is in all intents and purposes the case. But it seems like I've kind of had it up to here with looking at the darkness. It's sort of like I know it's I know there's still some threads, but it's almost like, do I have a choice now, like you said? And I do really want to. It's not about like talking or being somewhere I'm not, like abstract oneness or light or I want mystical experiences, but it's just turning back the other way and continuing to walk towards the light. And I just see, like, the experience of really being like non-located. I'm not really here. I'm seeing. I'm not a body. I'm just seeing through. I'm seeing through now. Like it's like the Course says the body is a neutral thing, and I think that neutrality is just so and I think that I'm ready for like a new. It's like a new song, because it's been so much looking at beliefs and questioning and butting up against the ego, and it sort of seems like that still is helpful at some certain points where it gets intense, but for the most part it just seems it's so light. And I really saw it with the Lucy thing. It's because my experience was that the movie didn't end. Like, she's everywhere, and I just felt like, and we were just walking out of the theater together in a row, and David opened the door, and the light from the sun just was like blasting in, and he was just like, come on into the light. It was just like so symbolic. And it again, I think the experience is starting to hum, really. It's starting to really kind of take on center stage. I
think because we're going for experience, like authentic experience. It doesn't really matter whether the experience right now is a complete oneness experience or it's a complete light, great ray experience. Really, it's just you want to be fully authentic and allow whatever that is right now to be fully experienced, and not to to lie to yourself about what it's really about, because then you miss what is really going on. It's like, I think, actually, to be honest, I think every experience, if it is truly present and be fully experienced, is amazing. Actually,
like, it must be the best.
Yeah.
Right?
I was talking to Salida this morning and about inspiration and stuff. And I said, you know, sometimes it can be like a big word of what my inspiration is.
Right.
But for him, like, I said, just be able to say everything you felt to say in the moment and not hold back. It's going to be so inspiring for you. And can you imagine the freedom? Just even as experiment, like right now I'm giving this role or this position really just as a platform to practice maybe just speaking up and not holding back and not even saying, oh, I should forgive and I should see no error. I should allow everybody to be whatever they are. Yeah, but what about allowing yourself? You know, if there is like this charge of any kind that comes up, it could be just there is some message that's been delivered and give, you know, you want to allow yourself. And with him, you know, with certain people in a particular period of time, this could just be the lesson. And if you truly embrace it, it's gonna bring amazing transformation. It's gonna be so inspiring.
Right, yeah, and that goes for, that's so, with all of us, it doesn't matter what, it's always the same lesson. It's like, do you feel love? Do you really, like, are you really in it? And if not, that's great. I can look at like what what I'm believing or my thoughts. Like, it's funny because being neutral, I can really see that the thoughts are just this, like in the Matrix, like a stream of digits or numbers or binary code or doing something. They're just so foreign to me because it doesn't feel like that love. It feels like, you know, when I believe my thoughts about something or someone, you know, it's funny because I don't think in the 4 years that I've done the mind training with this intensity, with the Living Miracles and David, and I don't think anything's changed. Really, I think just I don't believe my thoughts anymore.
That's it. I like that. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, because it's like it's like Lucy in the movie. She was just seeing a picture, and then she was seeing like the code coming from them, and it's just like that's not them, you know, in a symbolic way.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. You reminded me of this Baron Katie. I saw that someone asked her saying, I want to be you. How do I just want to be you. And she said, yeah, we just a few thoughts away. A few thoughts away, like she's empty. You know, it's like really just as you said, nothing changed except you don't believe your thoughts anymore. You don't hold your thoughts anymore. And whatever passed through is not your responsibility, but you don't hold or believe and stick to any of it to define you.
Yeah.
And I love it. I think you can just say, you know, from wherever anyone is at to or a happy dream state. Let's say not a complete heaven, but just happy dream state. It's just a few conclusions away.
Right. Yeah.
Drop the conclusions. Eventually, nothing really means anything specific, and you withdraw all the meanings you gave to the world. Everything becomes equal.
Right.
And the true meaning, the true essence of yourself will be known.
Yeah, and it's really for me that I saw actually the opposite. I saw what wasn't it. Like all through my life, it seemed like a setup. I didn't have this, I didn't have that, and I could see it once I got like into school, for an example. Oh, they've got 2 more credits than me. I was always comparing.
Right.
And always looking for validation, like, I finally arrived where they were, but they're always kind of off on the next thing. So I could see like that whole setup was in the spirituality as well. Like David had started when he was 25, or with the course, or any of the teachers, they started young, this kind of thing, and just saw like, oh yeah, that is not true at all, and it doesn't feel good. It's like I just don't want to sit with anything that doesn't feel good. I'm worthy of not carrying any kind of load.
Yeah.
That's just so precious that that it seems that there's a care and a respect, that we now just turn to what feels good, and we kind of nurture that. It's like, oh,
right.
It seems like we're worthy of that. My ears are popping.
What is it?
My ears.
Why?
I think we're going downhill.
Okay. Do you feel cool?
Yeah, I feel great. It's just so interesting that all these things that we've kind of put into practice and it's all for a different, it's all to let it go.
Yeah.
You're like, it's just so, like, I thought I would get a strong hold, like, especially when the Brian and Katie inquiry, and I still do, to a certain level, ask, is it true, or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the getting a pen out, and doing all the it's sort of like that's. I thought for sure I would have a concrete template for my like a process. Like I could process things in a cookie cutter kind of way. Like, okay, this thought comes in, I believe it. Is it and I break it down and the dissolve of it. Now it seems that everything kind of comes in, and there's no time really to do that now, and I need to trust that it's for a different purpose now. It's to be retranslated into, like Lucy, she was going from these fearful type aspects into, no, I don't want that anymore. I don't want that thought anymore. Instead of it pinning her down and making her carry drugs or something like that, it was like, no, that not anymore. I know that I can't go back. Like, and it's just interesting that everything we learn or to do is for an unlearning, just so that you are aware, or it's just, and I think it's so, I just feel so blessed with it because I can see for me it was so helpful and useful to express and to really look into beliefs and to have the relationship and to be in that. Yet I can't know what's my best interest, so I don't know if those stand anymore. So if they and it's funny because this is where the correction thing comes in. Because when I say, well, that doesn't really feel like I want to be at a movie, and it's it's kind of like, well, you kind of have to be at the movie, or something. These kind of tones. It really puts it in the test where exactly am I still buying into needing to be a certain way, or be a certain person, even. Like
certain person.
Yeah. I think more and more like that isn't holding up. Like Kris was so good at mind training, and I see that kind of with kind of newer people. It's like, wow, I'm a beginner every day, really, because I don't know what's going to fall away or what's going to stay today. If I'm in full authenticity, authenticity, I can't know my day.
Right.
So it's really interesting. Are you going to get to this and this and this and this? Are you going to do this? It's funny. It's like, I know to answer but really I don't know if those things will get handled. So it's sort of like, I feel like with you, it's like we're attempting to do something. We don't know if it's going to work or not. And if it doesn't, it's fine.
Film in the car.
Yeah. like, okay, let's just do this. It's like, it just comes in real strong, and the outcome's totally not it. Like, there's no, the outcome is
right.
The experience.
That's it. Like, it's always the spark and the inspiration in the moment. Oh, look at the light.
Yeah, it's like a great rays. And it's funny to even think like, oh, this in I know mind. Ooh, this road's really loud.
Yeah.
And we set the audio to be where the car wasn't driving, and now we're driving and it's really loud. But there's no real hook in it.
No, just for us to be in this moment and have so much, allow the inspiration to unfold. You know what I mean? Like, and this is the most important thing.
It is. It is it's the only thing there is. And it's what all the training's for, just to bring you to the present in a full, honest way. Like, yes, this is so cool. It's like, yes, so thoughts come, but they go again.
I remember Cody was saying, maybe the second episode that while we were filming, he was saying this devastation of seeing no hope or anything to look forward to in the future, and how devastating that was. But eventually, like, what that does is you can't look into the future for anything, any pleasure or any hope. So all the focus is just like, what now? What now?
Right. It's like a switch.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just that easy. It's like, oh yeah, well, there's always this present moment.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. There was a time when we were in California, and it just kind of kept on coming out. Valerie was like, I can't listen to you say that anymore. And what it was when David was talking, I believe he was talking about the noodle and the linear time.
Right.
And that the present moment is off the timeline.
Yes.
It's got nothing to do with linear time. And I just thought, like, wow, like, and then I read in the Course that the present moment, like, reality never errs. It's always correct, and it's always what it is. Byron Katie goes into that as well. She sort of calls it God, and I think that's just a metaphor for it being unchangeable. It just is perfect as it is. It doesn't have anything that it's doing against me or for me. It's just it's where I can really experience myself as not being who I've been mistaken, who I thought I was. Like, there's no, like, I can feel like there's no separations somehow. It's just really metaphoric, because of course if I knew there was no separation, probably wouldn't be in a body. But it just seems so poignant to really remind myself all the time that I'm not on the timeline.
That's
it just goes no place, and it's so beautiful. Then the experiences, the flow with that, how the eyes sort of, they change to look a different way. It's
Right.
a different scene then.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the personality, the I, exists based on the timeline, and everything, personal history and future hope and achievement, even enlightenment, and personal problem and suffering, being a victim and a victimizer, they're all based on the timeline. They're like, that's this one category, time, personal self, and that's every problem, everything exists in this one big cloud that doesn't really exist. And then you see through that, you see you actually way beyond that.
Right. Yeah, and like you said, it's with the nose. Like it's exactly that. It's like, oh yeah, well, I've known that all along, but I can't forget it. So it's sort of like,
No way. Yeah.
it's like where the self versus self concept or whatever.
Yeah.
And of course, where it says really that it shows you what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that section, but it really tells you of itself. And
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with a personal self.
Yes.
It's really restful.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm just having a real, the whole time we've been driving, when you you don't really focus on something, you just kind of do it. You just, or it just is done through, or
Yeah.
something like I don't think I've done a turn. Like I haven't really yeah, you're like, oh, we're gonna crash now.
You were looking
You were
like me.
That's really what?
I wasn't looking. I thought you were driving.
Yeah. But when I come into oh yeah, I'm driving, and I don't remember anything. Like they tell you in driving school, be careful of this. Be careful that you don't space out. and you forget a turn.
Yeah.
But I don't remember ever making any decisions right now, or turns, or like is somebody behind, the whole checking up thing, like I learned in driving school, be a defensive driver. Like I feel totally
Yeah.
done through. And it's a bubble. Definitely seems like a bubble experience where I sit at the center of it, and it all just kind of comes to me and passes through.
Yeah, that's interesting. It actually reminds me of this time when I was in Hawaii and went to a valley with JP, and we were walking down. And as we were walking down, he was quite fast, and there were a lot of stones on the road. It was very, very steep. And I remember I had this personal history of twist my ankle a lot in the past. So when I was walking down, I was pretty much just focusing on my feet and focus on not tripping on the stones and not twist my ankle. And he was just telling me one of the mystical experience he had, and he wasn't watching me. He just walking almost like a little, jogging kind of pace, very fast, and he was talking to me. And right at the moment when I had a thought of, I better watch all of these stones, and he said, in that mystical experience he had, which was in the exact same spot many, many years ago, and he said, there was no thought of, I will twist my ankle, and I could just running down without any thoughts and without hurting myself. There was no danger when you're in that mystical state. And I was just as I was thinking about that, and I thought, oh my God, that's a great reminder, what was I focusing on? Focusing on the problem and try to avoid problem.
Right. Yeah, that lifts you into an awareness, an experience awareness, where it's, oh yeah, I don't need to. Yeah, even if you did twist your ankle in that, there would be oh, there would be like a, this is for me. This is, there's nothing wrong here. It's like, okay, well, there that is. Because, or, you know, we would get to look at like the identification again, like, oh, I think I'm this body, but yeah, that lifted beyond those types of worries. It's just so beautiful. So you got down the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing, like the linear perspective, linear thinking, you know, about personal history, what I used to be doing and what I used to have suffered. You know, I have suffered this a lot, so I better watch it. And
Yeah.
you managed to pull off the highway.
Yeah, I
without
managed to
watching.
actually get to the airport, like, and not really drive there.
Yeah.
Like, how'd that happen? Like, I've got my, yeah.